Good afternoon to our all speakers, Mr. Girish Bhatia and Mr. Ayush Mittal. So we are very happy to have you both with us today, and thank you for taking the time to join us. So we will wait just a moment for few more participants to join, and then we'll begin. Okay.
Tejasvi, for the warm introduction. Share my screen as well so that we could get started with this entire piece and not keep you waiting. Girish, I'll sort of hand over it to you in a couple of minutes, and
Sure.
whatever Q&A that we have, we could maybe ask the students to, or we could answer all of their questions and answers, at the end of the webinar. But most importantly, welcome each and every one of you to this data analytics, data science masterclass by AI Academy by Getwork. And the topic of today's masterclass is very important, very crucial in our day-to-day lives. The analytics behind fraud detection. I mean, just remember the last time you received a phone call. Hi, this is me calling from XYZ Bank, and your credit card is going to, expire. A debit card is going to expire in 2 days, 2 hours. You need to send me all the details. And there are a lot of fraud detection, fraud cases coming in from the banking industry, and you know um, Girish, being the expert of it, will cover today a lot about how things happen behind the scenes, right, as a whole. But before we move forward, let me give a quick introduction about myself. I'm Ayush Mittal. I work as the assistant director at Tetter College of Business with Masters Union. And if you haven't heard of it previously, we are basically helping students pursue their 4-year degree program in 7 to 8 different countries. So in semester one, they do their undergrad, or semester one in Dubai. In semester two, they come to India. In semester three, they go to Singapore, Malaysia, so on and so forth. And we help them build real businesses in each and every country that they visit. So that's something that I work, with my students and help them establish and run their businesses in multiple countries. I've been into the system for roughly 8 to 10 years, and I completed my MBA from IIM Kashipur back in 2020. Girish, I think over to you. Would love to hear about you, and the audience would love to hear about you. Yeah.
Hi guys, my name is Girish Bhatia. I think some of you would have noticed I'm also an MBA graduate from IIM Kashipur. Ayush and myself were batchmates. Uh, in fact, we speak more these days than we did during MBA. I currently work at Yes Bank as VP, and I look after credit card portfolio. My, let's say 30-35% of the job goes into risk analytics, frauds, etc. There are other things that I manage, but today, since we are talking about frauds, risk analytics, I've prepared a very small deck for you to cover a decent amount of introduction to this aspect. Can somebody, I'll ask you one quick question. If you have guys experiences, just raise your hand or put a thumbs up or something like that, or maybe you can comment.
It is based on two factors as per my experience. One is odd hours, and second, the odd amount or the higher amount as well. So these are my experiences. But happy to listen to folks as well, who have joined the session. Maybe they are writing their answers in Q&A.
So while we wait for getting some of these responses, like Ayush mentioned, two things. One is odd hours and odd amount. And I mean, there are, to give you an idea, there are, hundreds of rules that run at the back end. It could be with respect to odd merchant. Let's say if there is a merchant against whom there is a lot of complaints, or some kind of IP addresses, some kind of websites, which in the past have been reported to do some kind of, fraudulent behavior or scamming behavior, they get flagged. There are bank-wide repositories, databases, which keep a track of these kind of behavior. And, there is a customer level track that also happens. For example, let's say you as a customer, you always do transaction within 500 rupees. If you go 700-800, it is still an okay behavior. But if you suddenly go 50,000, those transactions are temporarily put on hold. So these are, this is just a very top level overview before I start my presentation. to set the context of what we are going to talk about, how the banks manage, what are some of the nuances that go into, and you as budding professionals, what are the things that you need to look out for, and if you want to pursue a career in this side of the business, what are the things one must do. So bank issue credit cards for multiple reasons. One is, generally it is observed that the credit carded customer, like I have many cards. So if I have to do any kind of transaction, I would be more than willing to do it if the money is not going from my pocket right now. Like for example, you're making a purchase, etc. In credit card, it's like a short term loan given to you that you can pay without interest in say 50 days. Okay, so it becomes good for me. My money right now does not get debited. So it's a psychological impact. Like, if you don't have money and yet you can make the purchases. So generally it is observed, people with high earning groups or high spend groups prefer to do it from credit cards because it offers rewards, other benefits, lounges, etc. So it is a great product for banks to keep a customer engaged. Okay, you might have one or two bank account, but you can have as many credit cards. Just to give you a perspective, I have two bank accounts and I have 28 credit cards. So, whenever you're buying something, you can see some instant discounts, offers, EMI offers, etc. That way you can save a lot of money and earn rewards as well. Not just that, you can get lifestyle benefits. Like for example, I have a Swiggy credit card. Whatever I order on Swiggy, I get 10% off. I mean, it becomes a great way to, have access a lot of good things at a relatively cheaper price. Then, it for since, if a customer does not pay, banks charges very high rate of interest. So for a bank, it becomes a very profitable proposition. It is also a differentiator, like, there are a lot of rules and regulations around credit cards. Only the customers who are using your credit card day-to-day basis, they are highly engaged, highly active, and you can do a lot of cross-sell on those customers. So it becomes a separate franchise. In fact, the credit carded customers are generally tend to be active on digital, like they have mobile apps, banking apps. So you can save cost. You don't need to send an SMS or a letter to them. You can just send a app notification. So from a cost point of view also, these kind of customers are very engaged. Then aspirational value, I have seen this from my personal experience. People from tier 2, tier 3 cities who have maybe one or two credit cards, it becomes a very a prestige to take out your credit card and show it to your friends or family that you can swipe a card and be done with it. So it's an aspirational value. You are, like for example, you're going to an airport, you spend 500 rupees to 1000 rupees just to eat food. For a credit carded customer, the lounge access is absolutely free of cost. I mean, you pay 2 rupees, so it's not free, but 2 rupees is almost free. So there's aspiration around it, and a credit carded customer, I think you would be top 4% of the India if you have a credit card. Only 6 crore people in India have credit cards. So that way, customers also aspire to get better and better credit cards with more and more features, functionality, offers, discounts. To keep a customer overall engaged, associated with the banks, bank have this product called as credit cards. If you guys have any questions, feel free to raise a hand or ask me at any given point of time. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Who is the right customer for credit card? Can somebody, take a guess? Who would the banks issue credit card, or who is the good customer for credit card? Okay. Is it a student? Is it a housewife? Is it a working professional or a businessman? Who could be a good customer for credit card? Can somebody take a guess?
In my opinion, the right customer
Yeah.
for credit card could be somebody who spends a lot of money. I don't care if he or she, is a working professional or a student, but somebody who has a high level of spending behavior. क्योंकि पैसा तो I would get the money anyhow. I'm a legal bank, right? I would charge them interest. I would maybe make a couple of calls to them that you are risking your score, etc. But I think somebody who has a lot of behavior of spending money. That's my answer to it. But yeah, I'm
See,
into the next slide.
okay, before we go to the next slide, then Ayush, let me say, see, spending is the easiest part. Okay, I give you a credit card with say 10 lakh rupees of limit. You can just go and purchase a car. In just one swipe, you can, spend 10 lakh rupees. Or, I can give you an unlimited credit limit and you can go and purchase whatever. I mean, kilos and kilos of gold or a private jet or whatever. You people have done those purchases, by the way. A good set of customer is somebody who can pay back. So you can go to the next slide. Generally, bank assess how much you earn. Basis your earning potential, we decide how much you can repay. And if you can repay a good amount of money, you get a very high limit. If you can't, then you get something like a lower limit. So to put things in perspective, if your salary is say 50,000 rupees, banks give you credit card about 1 lakh, 50,000 to 1 lakh kind of a limit that they give you. Okay. So somebody, it is also a proxy, by the way. If you have a credit card worth of say 3 lakh limit, so I know that you earn roughly 1.5 lakh to 3 lakh rupees. So the credit limit is a proxy for income and income is a proxy for credit limit. This is something, most banks work on generally. If you have a credit score, which is called a CIBIL score. CIBIL is a company. Credit score is a correct term. Credit score of 750, 780. So credit score is another way to assess a customer if they have a good repayment capability and a good track history of paying back. And of course, employment history. Suppose you keep switching jobs every 3 months, banks will look at you as a risky customer. That you don't have a stable jobs. Maybe what if tomorrow your salary stops coming in. These are some of the parameters that we do. Other than that, we also look at PIN code. If you are from a tier 1 city, or profile, like somebody wrote here business professional. Yes, not all business professionals qualify for a credit card. For example, say lawyers or politicians. Generally, lawyers and politicians don't get credit cards. Or journalists, policemen, army men. Generally, for army, there is a separate credit card called as army credit card or defense credit card. But generally, these retail kind of credit cards are not given to blue collar workers, or they are not given to politically exposed persons, etc. Okay. Yeah. So, because, banks assess your repayment capability. Can we go to next slide, Ayush? Any questions, please, guys, feel free to answer. Ask me, raise a hand. Happy to answer those. Why they are not eligible? Very good question. Okay. This is slightly tricky, but let me try and put it in a way. Many a times customers may have money, but they may not have a will to make the payment back. For example, somebody with a fraud mindset, somebody with a scamming mindset, etc. So see, this is a kind of unsecured loan. Credit card is unsecured. Secured is when you give some property, some loan to the banks, while credit card is unsecured. They don't take any kind of collateral or any kind of deposit from you. So if somebody wants to fraud a bank, credit card becomes a very easy way to fraud a bank. And we look at some of the behavior scammers, what they do. However, it may look like today they have frauded the bank, but maybe after 2 years, with the 2 years of interest, there are provisions in which bank can take you to court. Not immediately, but in future there are ways in which banks can sue you. So I want to place card this one thing. Maybe credit card appears a very easy product that you get a loan of 2 lakh 3 lakh limit and then you don't pay it back. But trust me, after 2-3 years it all comes back with a very huge amount of interest. Okay. So why they are not eligible? Okay, like I said, it is very easy to not pay back your credit card bills. So in the past, it has been seen that some people with political connections, they spend a lot of money using their connections, they don't pay back. So these are something called as a negative profile. Okay. Lawyers, what if lawyer just sues the bank and says that whatever XYZ happened, I'm not going to pay back. So banks in the past have suffered losses because of such behaviors. And there is a policy in the bank that we don't give credit card to such profiles. or blue collar workers or daily wage earners, because they don't have a steady income source. Salaried, they are the best customers because every month you get payments, your salary, and every month you can, pay back your credit card bills. To give you an idea, roughly any bank would have about 70% salaried customers on credit card. Okay. We can go to, this is the next slide. Who is the best or worst customer? Let's show them the personas. Ayush, can you go to the next slide? There are 4 personas: Ayan, Komal, Tarun, and Nishant. Their incomes are given, their usage is given, their spends are given, their EMI behavior is given, their payment is given, and CIBIL. So let's go through profile by profile. Komal is a salaried individual. She earns 2 lakh stable income every month. She does travel, movies, plays golf, goes for dinners. She spends more than 50,000 per month for personal usage. She rarely avails EMI. It means, when you go to these websites, Amazon, etc., you can buy things on EMI. So she does not use EMI. She makes the full payment. She always pays on time. And CIBIL, CIBIL check is basically you go online and check what is your CIBIL score. So this is what is written. She rarely goes online and checks the CIBIL. Whereas Ayan is salaried, earning 50,000, spends online, does some kind of shopping, occasionally, does spending, not every time, but occasionally whenever there are offers or, instant discount, avails EMIs also, always pays on time, and sometimes, occasionally goes and check online. Tarun is a self-employed person. Now, self-employeds, in some months they may make very good amount of revenue. In some, the business may go up and down because of different cycles. So self-employed generally, are not a very strong customer base. However, if there is a consistency of business, we do issue credit cards. So Tarun is a good self-employed. He has a stable income. He uses money for business purposes, paying bills, etc., kind of that. Sometimes he uses for personal usage also, which is 25,000 and above. Revolves. Now, revolves means he does not make the full payment. Means if you don't make a full payment, you pay interest. And sometimes he occasionally checks his CIBIL score. What is the CIBIL score, going up, going down, etc. He occasionally goes online and checks. Then there is Ishant, who is also a self-employed. His income is irregular and less. He uses this as a temporary solution. Temporary cash solution. You can withdraw cash on credit card and use it like that. He spends mostly on utility, rent, and fuel. He uses EMI very frequently. He frequently does not pay full amount. That is called a revolve. Revolve is, in Hindi, you say paise ghumana. Okay, so revolve means paise ghumana. And he very frequently goes online and checks what is the CIBIL score. Because if you don't pay on time, CIBIL score starts to decrease. Okay. From these 4 personas, who do you think is the best for the bank? There is Komal and Ayan who pay on time. And there is Tarun and Ishant who generally don't pay on time. Who is the best customer? Somebody who makes payment on time and earns good money, does good amount of spend, or somebody who does not make payment on time and spends very less, etc. Basis this behavior. Can you please guess?
Anybody in the world, 99% would say Komal is the best customer because she has 2 lakh salary, she has 50K plus spend. And probably that's what, because the inside stories of how banks function and how banks think as ecosystem. So you know the answer better. But if I'm given, this case, I think I would say Ayan, because he looks for best discount. So I'm looking at his consumer behavior, somebody who looks at discount and who would want to go for EMI as much as possible, right, to avail those discount things. So that's one. I'm also thinking of Tarun as an answer because he occasionally revolves around this particular piece, and that by that consumer behavior, what it means is I have the liberty to charge him some 15-20% extra interest for that particular piece. So my answer for the worst customer is blindly Ishant. If that is right or wrong, I don't know. You tell us. But for me, as the best customer, I'm confused between Ayan and Tarun. That's my answer.
Okay. Well, you are absolutely right on that part. The best customer is actually Tarun, because Tarun has a stable income, so he will not default, right? And he, like you said, 15-20% of extra interest. It's actually 48% of extra interest. When you revolve, you pay 48% in interest. When you use EMI, you pay 16 to 18% interest. So from that perspective, Tarun is somebody who makes most money for bank. I mean, there are different ways of looking at the customer. Komal and Ayan are the customers who will never default, but they make bank spend. By availing these offers, lounge benefits, etc. It comes at a cost for the bank. Hence, Komal and Ayan are probably the worst customers from profitability point of view, while Komal and Ayan are the best customer for losses. They don't give any kind of losses. Tarun is somebody who will not give losses but who gives income. And since he revolves, banks don't give them very reward points, etc. So Tarun is somebody who is not using features, who is not using lounges, but paying interest. While Ishant is somebody, since the income is irregular, it is a possibility that Ishant may stop paying altogether. Hence, Ishant can become a loss-making customer for bank. However, until Ishant is paying money, he is even more profitable than Tarun. But Ishant has a probability of default, while Tarun has a low probability of default. So that perspective, Tarun is a kind of customers who banks are on the lookout for.
It's actually quite interesting.
Okay, so I'll take a pause here, guys. I want you to absorb this. Though, the first two profiles look the best, but they don't make money for the bank. So how now? See, bank have two primary functions. One is to accept deposits like saving account, current account, fixed deposit, term deposit, etc. So that is something called as a deposit side or liability side. While the other side is called as asset side. It means give out loans, personal loan, business loan, education loan, home loan, car loan, property loan, a lot of gold loan, a lot of different types of loans. So these are the two primary functions of bank. One is to safeguard your money and give you some kind of interest on your savings. Second, to use that money and lend out to customers who need the money today to make any kind of purchases. It could be home, car, etc. Generally, the risk happens on the second side, because what if the customers don't pay? Can we go to the next slide, Ayush? What if the customers don't pay? Now that can be with respect to anything. Suppose you take a personal loan or education loan, and you stop paying. Banks have taken a risk on you, although they are charging rate of interest, yes, but not everybody pays back. And this behavior is like we talked about profiles, we talked about income groups, we talked about pin codes. Generally you would be surprised, some of the cities where a lot of business happens are not very positive in terms of repayment. For example, Rajkot, Surat, uh, Allahabad or Prayagraj now, Muradabad, you would be surprised, Ludhiana, very prime cities, very good cities, some of the most beautiful cities in the country. Yet, because since there is a lot of proprietorship over there, people tend to take loans. And if at all, I'm not saying they don't have a will of not paying the bank, but many times your incomes can go up and down. So people tend to not pay on time. That turns into losses for the bank. It could be irresponsible spend behavior. Recently, as a banker, we have observed people are spending 50,000 rupees on these Linkin Park, Lollapalooza, Zoma Land kind of events, or even IPL tickets. People spend 50,000 rupees for a ticket. I don't understand why. There have been cases. I was speaking to one of the customers. He wanted to use that money to pay fees of his son, but instead he purchased a ticket on black, and he spent 76,000 rupees on the last match of Dhoni. I mean, come on, you're not paying fees for your son, but you want to go and see Dhoni. According to me, it's absolutely stupid, but people do that. Okay, and that's how in fact, as a banker, I encourage them to do more because we earn money. But as a individual, I personally feel that, people should use credit prudently, because if you use it prudently, it is a very good way to earn benefits. Like I said, lounge benefits, hotel benefits. I'll give you an example. In the past 1 or 2 years, I have got at least 50% off in any restaurant. I mean, we go to fanciest of the restaurants, 4 stars, 5 stars, to have lunch or dinner, 50% off by, choosing good credit cards. Versus somebody who, is not using properly, misuses it, they end up paying a lot of interest. Spending more than earning, greed of having more. I have come across people earning 4, 5,000 or 10,000, 15,000 a month, but they aspire to have an iPhone. I mean, aspiration is good, yes, but not at the cost of going under debt. EMIs, it is very easy to avail EMIs these days. So people, behavior changes when you are using borrowed money. Using this platform, I also want to guys to tell you, since you are, you'll become professionals tomorrow, use these loans very prudently, because, it is very easy to change the behavior and start spending very high. Okay. And the next, which is, scams and identity frauds. I want to spend 5 minutes talking more about these. Let's talk about identity frauds first. Many a times it has been observed that, how many of you have seen the show called Jamtara on Netflix during COVID, where they talk about scams, frauds, how, people are misusing the system? It's a very good series. I mean, everybody should watch it. So let me give you some insights about how this works. So let's take an example, a common name, Amit Kumar, Anil Singh. These are very common names across North India. Or Karthik is a very common name in the South. And in South, many a times people don't even use a surname. So digitally, if I'm issuing a credit card or opening an account, how do I know that this Anil Kumar and other Anil Kumar are same? PAN card, Aadhaar card, right? So many times, what people they do, they get the PAN card number of some other Anil Kumar. Let's say I'm Anil Kumar. I have an intention to fraud. There is another Anil Kumar who has a very good CIBIL score, very good salary, etc. I will use his PAN card. I will use my Aadhaar card, because the validation happens on the Aadhaar card. OTP goes on the Aadhaar card, not on PAN card. But with PAN card, we check the CIBIL history. So I, as Anil Kumar with a fraudulent behavior, will use the PAN number of the other Anil Kumar who has a good behavior. I will put my Aadhaar card for validation, my address for getting the credit card, etc. When I stop paying to the bank, the other good Anil Kumar's credit history is affected. Okay, so this is how identity thefts work. Doing a fake signature, submitting fake documents. Sometimes, these bankers also get involved, these sales managers also, to, there have been in the history that, people can be corrupted. So they, take the fake documents and they sign and they open the account. These kind of frauds come under identity theft, where you are pretending to be somebody else. Now let's look at scams and frauds. Let me start with one statistics. Every month, there are about 15,000 crores of fraud happening in the country. 15,000 crores of rupees of fraud happen in the country every month. Okay. I mean, humongous numbers. The Jamtara series that I'm talking about, it tells you how, these people are doing those frauds. So, for example, the very common frauds these days are you get a call that your electricity bill will be disconnected today if you don't make the payment. You panic and then you send the money to the fraudster. Or, somebody may call you saying, sir, your parcel is stuck. You need to download an app and pay 10 rupees. You think 10 rupees, I mean, this is a very small number. This happened to me. In fact, during COVID, I had to send some documents to the office. and for a week it did not get delivered. So I call up the customer care number, and that person tells me you have to download app and make 10 rupees. Now I know this is a kind of fraudulent behavior, but I played along for some time. What are they doing? Say they make you download some kind of fraud apps or a remote control app. If you install those apps, they can control your phone, so they can read all the OTP, etc. Or maybe if they that could be one remote control, or second could be that app automatically forwards SMS to them. All SMSs are sent to the fraudsters. So now suppose one of the two behavior happens, either remote control, so they can they can log into your other apps and do the transaction, or they can see your screen. Okay. Or like I said, OTP forward. If we sometimes save account details or some kind of things in the phone, they can easily access those kind of things. And when you are sleeping, they will swipe off all the money from your account. In fact, I'll use this moment to tell you, please install some good kind of antivirus in your phone, especially for your elder parents who may not understand these kind of scams very well. Okay. And in general, do not click on any links, do not share OTP, even if it is a friend, do not share account details, etc. Because with AI and all, it has become very easy to create fake websites, create fake applications. Last month, I think from October to December, last 3 months, we were in a fraud war room. Every day we used to have a war room. We would assess what kind of frauds are happening. One kind of fraud had increased where somebody sends you a link, and they call you saying, sir, insurance is activated on your card. To cancel the insurance, you need to log into your app and do that. Now that is a fraud call. There is no insurance on your account. They are just using fake scare to impact you. So you go to the mobile app, you go to this section, they tell you go here, go here, go here. But unfortunately that section does not exist, only because it's a fake information. They tell you, sir, you know what, you are using a outdated application of the bank. I am sending you a link, please install the fresh application. Generally you will believe like this is a good behavior, right? I mean, why would somebody tell you to install a bank application? So they send you a WhatsApp or they send you some kind of link. That link is malicious link. It's a fraud link. You click on the link and they get access of your phone. They can read SMSs, they can do anything they want. These are called APK frauds, where they are sending an APK, which is an Android application, and they make you download a fake app. When you install the fake application, you have to log in using Aadhaar card, credit card details, etc. So everything is passed to them. They can read your SMS, they can read your OTP. And when you are sleeping, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., all the money is swiped off. They don't even leave one paisa. Okay. And like I said, it is very complicated because in India right now, such kind of mechanisms don't exist. Even if, you complain to the police or to the bank, let's say they have been able to block your money. But to get the money, you need to go to court. You need to get a court order. Right now, there are no mechanisms or very complicated mechanisms. RBI is working to streamline all these things so that if a fraud happens and if somebody complains, every account linked to that person or a mobile number can be blocked. Hopefully, in maybe 6 months, 8 months, we should get some of these systems, but right now they don't exist. Hence, these fraudsters, they are using these kind of loopholes and frauding you. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah. Now, in fact, if we can now, yeah. So credit card delinquency, like I said, if a fraud happens or if you overspend, like two behaviors in which the customer may not pay. One, or rather three behaviors. One, the customer doesn't want to pay. Like, they are intentionally frauding the bank. Second, maybe they have an intention of making the payment, but they don't have money. Like, maybe impact of salary, it could be with respect to some emergency expenses like medical expenses, etc., in which a person wants to pay but does not have money. And the third case in which a fraud happens to you. So you put it on the bank that since fraud happened to me, I will not pay back because bank has to have fraud mechanisms, etc. With fraud mechanisms in place, I am referring to the conversation which I started this session. You get a call, sir, is that you who is making the payment at odd hour, at odd instances? These are called as fraud rules, fraud checks that work in the background. The intention is to safeguard you. The intention, it feels inconvenient, even many a times, even myself. Let's say, for example, I was traveling and my card does not work. And unfortunately, let's say I have only one card. I will feel stuck. I will blame the bank for blocking my card, or maybe, not allowing me to make the spend. But these rules happen at the background for your benefit. It's like airport security. Everybody finds it very, inconvenient and annoying. But they are the ones who are protecting. They are looking at the safety of other passengers. So safety is annoyance, yes, but it is necessary. Hence, banks have these mechanisms in which they block the transactions, in which they may block the card if they find any suspicious activities happening, to safeguard your interest. However, there are times in which, in some gray areas, the fraudster find some loophole and they still get to do it. Can we get to the next slide? In that case, some delinquency means the customer has not made the payment. Okay, for a credit card, there are two types of payments. One is a full payment called as total amount due. One is a minimum payment. Like I said, revolve. If you make minimum payment, means you will pay the balance amount sometimes later. For that later amount, you are charged interest. So generally, we track this behavior by how many days the customer has not made the payment. Is it 3 days? Is it 30 days? 60, 90, 120, 150, 180? I mean, these numbers are not arbitrary. They have some kind of logic, some kind of behavior associated. Like, for example, 3 days. RBI has given this benefit that you can at most delay the payment by 3 days. You will not get any penalty or you will not get any interest. So 3 days delay is allowed. But if you miss it beyond 3 days, then a bank can charge interest, income, fees, late payment charges, etc., etc. 30 days means 1 month. So now there is a probability of default associated. If you cross 30 days, the probability of default is approximately 80%. If you cross 60 days, probability of default is 95%. If you cross 90 days, the probability of default is 98%. So banks by the spend behavior can approximately know इसमें से पैसा आएगा कि नहीं आएगा. Simple. So then banks take a call, and in fact we have to report these kind of delinquencies to RBI and to government. So if somebody thinks that they can fraud a bank by using credit card, but like I said, it is reported to income tax, it is reported to government, it is reported to all kind of regulatory bodies. In fact, if suppose today you are not able to make the payment and you have an intention to fraud, till 180 days, banks will just call you or come to visit your place and request you for making the payment. If you don't pay the payment for, let's say, 2 years, approximately 730 days, then banks, what they do, they classify your assets under reconstruction. From a credit card, it gets reconstructed into some kind of loan. And now banks can take you to court. If that reconstruction happens, generally it is 18 to 24 months. After that, banks reconstruct. Then they can sue you, they can take you to jail also, depending upon the amount, depending upon all the litigations. Till 202 years, you feel, that you made money and you are not going to pay it back, you enjoyed and whatever. The scammers do that. But after 2 years, the entire 2 years of interest comes to you. Every month LPC comes to you. So maybe to give you an idea, that 10,000 amount can come back to you with a 1 lakh rupee kind of a huge amount. And since that amount has now become huge, court can issue an order to arrest you. These are some kind of mechanisms which, very core bankers are aware. Generally, people are not aware about these kind of scenarios. I'll again take a pause here for a few minutes. If you guys have any questions around it, please feel free to ask.
Girish, I would want to add something here, or would want to ask, on the behalf of the students as well. So with respect to a lot of things, fraud detection, identity theft, days past due and all these, understanding the data of 80% probability of failure, 90%, 95%. So what roles do data analysts, data scientists play in this entire piece? Because I am assuming, it's everything around data, it's everything around understanding the consumer behavior, that is data, understanding the fraud behavior, that is data, understanding when they are paying back to us, that's data. So how important is the role of a data analyst or a data scientist in this entire uh, not I'm not talking about the overall banking industry, but in this specific use case?
Okay. So, very, very good question, Ayush. In fact, this is something we had to discuss, as a part of this masterclass. So, a data okay. Let me put it in a very simple way, and then I'll elaborate. Without a data analyst, the credit card industry will not survive, even for a month or so. That is the importance of a data analyst. I have a team of about 40 data analysts who work on the credit card portfolio. Right from every day there are hundreds of queries that are running to identify which customer has made the payment, what is the ratio, geography wise we separate the customers, uh, good behavior, bad behavior. There are different kind of scorecards that function. There is something called as a behavior scorecard. There is something called as a risk scorecard. There is something called as the early warning signal scorecard, EWS scorecard.
US.
Then there are application scorecard. If a customer is coming on board, what is the probability, will he be a good customer or a bad customer? We use very complicated scorecards. Then there are a lot of allocation logics. There are a lot of which customer to send SMS to, WhatsApp to, email to. There are some kind of propensity scores. Sometimes many customers, they respond on SMS, some don't. So if a customer does not respond on SMS, we identify those customers. We have a propensity scorecard mapped, and we may not send SMS. This is a cost control measure. Sometimes we do a lot of customer segmentation. If a customer is doing only travel, okay, Shreya, I just saw your comment. Let me answer you in a few minutes. So, like I said, if a customer is doing only travel offers, I will send only travel related offers to them. Travel spends and travel offers. These are called like customer segmentations. Okay. Or, for example, identifying if a customer has moved cities. Suppose you are doing all spends and, I'm doing spends from Mumbai, and suddenly, a spend happens from Bangalore. Then a bank may say it is a fraudulent kind of a behavior. Sorry for the interruption, guys. So different scorecards work, different propensity models work. Many a times customers give a call, they ask for fee reversals, they ask for some kind of offer, some kind of benefits. So if a customer has made money for the bank and has a good behavior, banks have a RACV model in which you assess a profitability of a customer and offer some kind of fee waivers or something. So a lot of analytics goes into play. These are the things that I'm telling you, which data analyst does on a day-to-day basis. Other than that, there are reportings, Tableau reports, database managements. I can go on and on. Like for example, when we have an application happening on our platform, the kind of systems that get triggered in 15 seconds, I think 103 API calls happen. Crazy amount of tech integrations have happened, and in fact I wouldn't be far off if I say banks are the biggest consumers of data analytics, tech, systems, servers, computers, everything put together, cybersecurity, manpower. Banks have become a powerhouse of consumption today. If you are starting your career in data analytics, trust me, banks are hiring like anything. Like I said, modeling, behavior, policies. Like for example, suppose if I want to say that this kind of profile is bad for the bank, for example, or this kind of customer segment is bad for the bank, I need to check it on some past data. Then do it out of time testing. Like if I create a model, how is it behaving in the out of time data? For example, if I make a say model on say September 25, I will test it in October, November, December, January. If the model works for 4, 5, 6 months, this is called a out of time, because you are using a future date from the model since the model was created. If that holds true, it becomes a model. And then we, as a bank, we start using that, in various places. I can tell you in my, the names that I took are the exact models that we use every day. I think I took about 15-20 names. And honestly, some of them I probably don't remember, because some support functions might be using some models, fraud team is using some models, marketing team is operations team is using some of these models. It wouldn't be wrong to say, in just credit card uses at least 100 type of different models. And we keep creating new and new models. So that is where a role of data analyst comes into play. Now, if I start going a little technical, the kind of codes that these people write, most of my models are based on XGBoost and random forest. If I'm doing some kind of time series analysis, we use Arima. Just to give you some flavor. And most banks, they work on SQL. Python and SQL combination. Python as a scripting language front end, while SQL is your back end database. Because a bank, Yes Bank is a relatively smaller bank in terms of credit card. We are the 10th bank in the country. HDFC is the largest one.
And
So
still you have a team of 40 data analysts under you. In just
HDFC would have no. See, even HDFC has 40, because they have 2 crore customers. We have 25 lakh customers, but the kind of behavior that they have is same. So just that the size of data increases, but the cohorts, segmentation, types, they still remain same. In fact,
I think the point that I'm trying to make is there is a huge demand of data analysts in the banking industry.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I think Shreya has also asked the question how to safeguard if
Yeah.
someone.
Now coming to Shreya, if someone has shared PAN card details with somebody, fraud is not yet happened. Okay. I think about 2, 3, 4 years ago, when the government mandated PAN Aadhaar linkage. Okay. So for these identity frauds can easily be curbed if your PAN card, Aadhaar card, mobile number, the trio is linked. So first step that you should do is go to the PAN card website, NSDL website, and update your latest address and mobile number information in your PAN card. Second is you can go to income tax website and link PAN and Aadhaar with each other. If you open an account, in fact, banks do that for you. It happens in the background. But if it has not happened, you can go to the income tax website, at least check if the PAN card and Aadhaar card are linked or not. Okay. So if somebody is misusing your PAN card, let's say if somebody also with the name of Shreya KU, which is not impossible, they use your PAN card details to apply, but the Aadhaar card will not be theirs. So OTP will come on your phone number, and in Aadhaar card there are face information, etc. is also recorded. So banks, they do a face match also. So with this kind of case, PAN Aadhaar linkage is the solution to prevent yourself from these frauds. Another one is you go to the Aadhaar card website called UIDAI and you block your card. Block your Aadhaar card. If you block your Aadhaar card online, nobody can use it for you doing a biometric validation. You have to go unlock and then do it. So that is another safety mechanism in which you can lock your Aadhaar card. Okay.
I think in the interest of time, let's move forward.
Yes. I think there's only one slide that we need to cover. How does CC portfolio look like? Now this is a pure data element, guys, which I'm trying to show you. Can we directly jump to the next slide, Ayush?
Yes.
So this is how I think the numbers have gone haywire. Okay, but look at just focus on the colors. Green means good, yellow means average, and red means bad. So this is a snapshot of a portfolio. On the left side, I have in which month the customers have been acquired. On the top, we have month on book, which is called as how old the customer is on your book. So if I had, say, boarded a customer 2 years ago, today that customer would be 24 months old with me. So that is the meaning of month on book. For how many months the customer is active with you. So if you can read the number 0.00, 0.2, etc. And in red, it is 8.07, something like that. The red behavior means these are the risky set of customers. I want to highlight your attention to April 2023, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th row, which is the red row. Okay. Yeah, Ayush is pointing that out with a mouse. So, if you see the behavior is red, it means in that month something had gone wrong, some system failure or some kind of happening in which some bad customers had boarded. They have frauded the bank, hence that particular vintage and that particular month is shown in red, while others are shown in green, yellow. Yellow is, average, while green is a good behavior. Very less loss is how green is represented. In fact, these are the kind of reports some of these data analysts they prepare, and every day, every month we consume these reports. Only one report that I'm showing you. If I unfortunately I can't show you that on the bank environment, but I can easily tell you that there are about 80 Tableau reports that I personally consume on day-to-day basis. Other functions would have different reports. Along with these Tableau reports, there are a lot of Excels. There are a lot of these Excels are also not your simple one sheet Excel. They 100, 150, 200 MB Excels in which complicated models are created, queries are written, power queries, power pivots are being used. Excel, you can do a lot of coding in Excel also. Some of the codes I tend to write some of the codes myself. I don't want to let go of that tech background. Despite having a good team, I still write codes myself. It keeps you active. It keeps you, because the more data you explore, the better business understanding you derive out of. One part of data analytics is just looking at data and creating a model. The other part of data analytics is reading the data and deriving some kind of insights. That is where a good analyst can also become a good strategist. How to read the data, how to interpret. So it's in my opinion, data analysis are two parts. One is reading and publishing reports. Other one is reading those reports and taking some business decisions out of those reports. I think we have reached 1 hour, and I'm happy that it got completed in 1 hour. I am open to any questions. Ayush, all the students, it's up. I hand over you, and you can ask me anything.
Sure. I think it was a wonderful session, Girish, right? And before we close this, before we jump to Q&A, I would also like to spend another 5 minutes, talking about what we have, for these college students and even early working professionals as well, which is an internship guarantee course launched by AI Academy by GetWork. And I believe, as a working professional who has been in the ecosystem for 8 to 10 years myself, mostly in the education space, I think these days, a course, a program, or a YouTube channel is not enough to understand data analytics or any other field for that matter. What really matters to students or to anybody who aspires to get into a particular role is a proper structured program that is strong enough, that is thoughtful enough to give you something as a tangible outcome. And that's exactly, folks, what AI Academy by GetWork has built for you, an internship guarantee course that basically helps you get placed in a lot of organizations or gives you the capability to crack a lot of interviews around data science roles, data analytics roles in multiple organizations. So a data scientist, a analytics course by AI Academy, which is an internship guarantee course that has been proposed for each and every one of you. It is a very highly structured program. It's a 4-month internship guarantee course that basically focuses on learning by doing approach. I believe as working professionals, it's very easy to have a presentation and just speak about what are the topics. But the way Girish talked about, what are the real things that are happening behind the doors. And that's exactly, how we are going to have our 64 hours of experiential live sessions across 4 months. So for 16 weekends, we'll have Saturday and Sunday, 2 to 3 hours of session every day. And we would actually understand through Excel, through Python, through SQL, through machine learning, through AI, as to how you could eventually land into a very powerful, rock solid data analyst or a data scientist role altogether. I think beyond that, what matters a lot is who are the industry experts that are going to teach you. So it's going to be me, it's going to be Girish, it's going to be, and Girish, like you said, there are a lot of people in the industry in South who go by the name Karthik, right? And we have an industry expert, Karthik, who is a senior data scientist with PayPal, and a lot of industry experts who are coming in from diverse backgrounds in terms of their, work experience and so on and so forth. So every weekend we will have an industry expert coming in for you, training you, making you work on some real activity, making you solve a real project. And that's exactly how Girish sort of decided to build onto the fraud detection case that happens in the banking industry. And these are going to be some real learning, real projects. I might come in with how we in the education space are analyzing WhatsApp conversations using ML on WhatsApp to actually identify who is the right customer to pay. I come from an industry or come from a company which is a very high ticket pricing. Our customers pay us 1 to 1.5 CR, right? And with that, one loss of customer, or let's say five customers loss is equal to 1 million USD, right? That I have to answer to my investors as a whole. So how we analyze WhatsApp conversations, how a lot of other companies, be it Ola, analyzing the ride sharing, be it Indigo, I think Indigo and other, airlines as well, how do they accommodate for a lot of requests, a lot of things that are happening behind the scenes in the data side of that particular thing? How can you actually build a recommender system like Netflix? That's one of the key projects that we'll be doing in the next 4 months. How Swiggy and Blinkit and even Zomato optimize for their orders, how restaurants are optimizing for their orders, how they are analyzing the data. I mean, a lot of you would have seen coriander, dhania, sort of gets out of stock by 4 or 5 p.m. max to max. So there, and we have an industry expert uh, who works with Virtusa, and maybe a couple of other organizations as well as consultant. And he told us that there is a lot of data, a lot of science that goes behind a very simple problem: how much dhania, how much coriander has to be put in stock. And data analysts play a very important role in that particular field, right? How data analysts are using LinkedIn as a platform to understand the job behavior, the applicant behavior, and so on and so forth. And that goes across organizations as well. So I think the point, that me, Girish, and other experts from AI Academy are trying to help you understand is a very simple thing. Data is everywhere. I mean, you would have heard that was a saying that we used to hear during our MBA, that data is a oil. I believe data is oil, data is gold, data is everything that would help you get into a great role altogether. And even if tomorrow you might want to get into, for example, I'm just trying to be a neutral person right now. Tomorrow you might want to get into sales or marketing or HR or finance or product, an industry or a domain wherein I have spent most of my career. Let me tell you one thing very straightforward. uh, Data is everywhere, be it sales, marketing, finance, or whatsoever. Data is used everywhere. If you don't know how to create pivot tables, if you don't know how to analyze data, if you don't know how to read data, as what Girish was saying, there are two kinds of roles. One is, Girish, what you said, one is reading the data, right, and just creating tables or things out of it. And second is being a strategist around that particular data. Uh, Yesterday only, my data analyst, by the way, he goes by the name Harshit, right? My data analyst helped me identify two customers who could pay us 1.5 CR. And we were able to close the deal because he analyzed their entire consumer behavior on multiple portals, that we are active on.